Every year in F1, there are always rumours about drivers going to different teams. So for today's video, I'm going to assess Valtteri Bottas' realistic options of what team he'll drive for next season if he was to be replaced by George Russell. I'm sure many people who follow F1 are aware of the rumours that George Russell could replace Valtteri Bottas, but many are also wondering where Bottas will go if he was to be replaced. What I'm going to do now is individually look at the 9 other F1 teams and assess the likelihood of Valtteri Bottas joining one of those teams. So first, let's start with Red Bull. To be honest, I think it's quite unlikely that Valtteri Bottas will go to Red Bull because Red Bull tend to stick with their junior drivers, except for when they sign Perez. But I don't think they would be willing to replace Perez with Bottas. Next up, we have McLaren. So I also think the same with Red Bull. I think it's very unlikely that he'd be with McLaren because Lando Norris, he's been doing really well for them, and it doesn't look like he's going anywhere. And Daniel Ricciardo, it doesn't look like he's going anywhere either, despite his performances not being as good as Norris's. But I think they will just stick with the current lineup they have. So next is Aston Martin. So I don't see Bottas in there either. Because first of all, Lance Stroll, his dad is the part owner of the Aston Martin F1 team, and also Vettel, unless Vettel decides to retire, he's currently doing better than Stroll in the championship, so it would be a bit silly to replace Vettel, even though he's doing better than his teammate who's not going to be replaced. So next up is Alpine. I don't think it's as unlikely as the previous 3 teams I was talking about earlier in this video, but I think it's still... I don't think it's going to happen, and I think the only way it's going to happen is if Alonso decides to leave and join another F1 team, because Ocon recently signed a new deal, and I don't think the driver lineup for Alpine is going to change going into next year, so I think this is a no for Bottas. So for the next 2 teams, I'm just going to speed up a bit. So first with Ferrari, I think there's no chance, because both their drivers are performing quite well. Both got podiums this season. I think everyone's happy in that Ferrari camp, with the driver lineup, so that's not going to change. And with AlphaTauri, it's the Red Bull Junior team, so they're only going to go through drivers in the Red Bull program, and we know Bottas doesn't have any connections with Red Bull, so there's very, very unlikely he will join either of those 2 teams. So I think the last 3 teams are Bottas' most likely options of where he will join if he's not going to be in Mercedes next season. So I'm going to start with Alfa Romeo. I think that's pretty, in my opinion, I think that's where he'll go if he's to be replaced. Since Alfa Romeo, they can choose whatever driver they want to be in their team for next season, and there have also been loads of rumours, as you can see right here, about Bottas being in talks with Alfa Romeo for 2022. And as you know, Kimi, he's getting older. He's in his 40s, so he's not really in his prime anymore. So he's probably one day in the near future gonna retire. And yeah, Giovinazzi, he's been doing average. I'm not saying he's gonna be replaced, but I'm sure Alfa Romeo think that they could probably do better. So with Haas, I think there is a decent chance Bottas could be with them, but I don't think it's as much as with Alfa Romeo. But I only think if Schumacher, goes to Alfa Romeo, which is probably the most likely destination if he was to leave Haas, and because Mazepin will stay because money. So I think there is a bit of a chance, but I don't know if Bottas would be happy with that, maybe, but we just have to wait and see. So lastly, we have Williams, and I think this would be a very likely option for a team that Bottas would join if he was to be replaced at Mercedes by George Russell. 1, because if George Russell leaves, then a seat will open up, and 2, he's raced for Williams before, so he knows the atmosphere, he knows some of the people there, so he may just decide that he might as well join a team that he knows about. So overall, I think that there are only 2 teams that Bottas could really join if he was replaced, and I think those 2 teams are Williams and Alfa Romeo. If I had to pick one, I would probably say Alfa Romeo, mainly because they're rumours about him being in talks, and the other teams, there's not been any like rumours about him being in talks with them. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and goodbye.